welcome to This is Sportscast, another episode where we are going to be talking about the national game and how it's spreading to what some people might think are unusual locations. So we spoke with the Icelandic Cricket Association, as you know, last year. Last week we spoke to Abhijit Khan from the German Cricket Federation, and today we are going to speak to another sporting nation that's not renowned for cricket, but I'm sure that will change in the future. So today we're going to be talking to Terry O'Connor from the Czech Cricket Union, and yes, I'm talking about the Czech Republic, so we'll learn hopefully a lot more about how the sport started and is growing there with Terry. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, but don't forget the podcast is now available on our YouTube channel for you to watch as well. These interviews are being recorded, so please check that out as well. But in the meantime, here's the interview with Terry. Thank you. Hello, Terry. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, very well. Firstly, a huge thank you for joining us today. I'm really grateful for you taking time out to talk to us and our listeners and viewers now on our YouTube channel about the national game in India being played in the Czech Republic.
Not a problem, man. It's my pleasure.
And where do we find you in what part of the Republic do we find you in today?
I live in Prague, in the capital city.
Okay. And obviously, being the year that we've had, there's only one question that I unfortunately had to start most of my interviews since March. How's the pandemic in the Czech Republic? How have you guys been dealing with that?
Pretty well, actually. The Czech government implemented lockdown and travel restrictions and mandatory mask wearing back in the end of March. And as a result, we've had very few deaths and very few cases in comparison to similar sized countries around the world. And we are now fully back open, the entire country.
Oh, wow.
There is one small region which still has a bit of a problem with a number of new cases each day, but the rest of the country is completely reopened, and we're playing sport with spectators. We're going to shopping centres and gymnasiums and swimming pools and cinemas and
fantastic.
School holiday time, so the schools aren't open, but they will be in September.
That's really great to hear. I'm really glad you guys are getting back to what we call normal. We've still got a long way to go before we get to that. I think a few more months at least, but it was good to see international cricket return as well in the past few weeks. But obviously when I was looking at I was doing a series of podcasts with cricket federations and unions, and I saw the Czech Republic, and I'll be honest with you, I was very surprised. How did cricket get to a country that's so passionate about football and especially ice hockey? How did it start?
The same way it has in most countries, if not all countries, with a few immigrants who came from cricket-playing countries, initially in particular from Britain. The first club was formed here in 1997, so very recently, and it was basically made up of people from traditional cricket-playing countries, England, India, Australia, etc. And it's very much continued mostly in that fashion, with the vast majority of the senior adult players are people who have moved here for work or for study, and like yourself, been shocked to find out there was cricket here. When I moved to the Czech Republic, it never occurred to me to even look to see if there was cricket. I had just assumed that I would never play cricket again, that I'd never have anything to do with cricket. And then you meet some people through work or through social connections, and suddenly you find out that there's cricket being played in the Czech Republic.
And how long have you been in the Czech Republic, and how soon after did you discover? Because if I got it right, you're the league administrator for the union, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well.
Yeah, I'm the full-time employee for Czech Cricket. I moved here at the end of 2007, in December 2007, and it was 2 years before I started playing cricket here. I'd found out that it was happening, I think, about a year after, and then it took a while to actually decide to actually play again, mostly due to other commitments. But I'm now retired. I don't play anymore. I just look after administration things, and I do a bit of umpiring.
Right, and obviously getting the sport and playing it at a amateur level is something different, but to get it into a organized union and getting even to the status of being an associate member of ICC, that takes a lot of hard work, and because there is a certain criteria you have to meet to get to that level. So that must have been, I mean, you started in 2007 or 2009. That must have been a lot of hard work for you to get to that stage.
Well, the Českomoravský kriketový svaz, the Czech Cricket Union, was formed in the year 2000. And we got, back then, it was affiliate status with the ICC. So we used to have the third tier. And it was a lot easier to get affiliate status with the ICC back then compared to associate status now. But there was a lot of work done by the people involved. I was not one of those back then. I wasn't even in the country in 2000. But yeah, lots of hardworking people who established not just the organisation, but the culture of Czech cricket, and getting us involved with becoming members of the ICC, playing matches with other nations, and slowly building up the number of clubs in the country, so that we could actually have a league, which actually took quite a while. It really only became a league in 2009. There'd only been 2-3 teams before that, and then it was up to 5 teams at that stage, and now we have 16 teams competing in our domestic competitions.
So, I mean, you said the criteria is a lot harder now, and was that the aim? I know you joined, you weren't there when it became an affiliate member, but you certainly were there when the Czech Cricket Union was given the associate membership. And it is a very tough criteria in the sense of you need 16 senior and junior teams, you need 8 grounds. Did it just happen organically, or was it a goal that you'd set for yourselves in terms of we want to get to associate level?
It was a long-term goal, and to be honest, when they made the change of getting rid of the affiliate level and making all affiliates associates, it kind of came out of the blue. We didn't realize that it was actually on the cards. Most affiliates, because we were not privy to that level of discussions. We couldn't participate in most aspects of the ICC annual general meetings, and we're still a non-voting associate member. Like most associates, only the top 40 associate countries get to vote at the ICC AGM. So you still have a little bit of exclusion But yeah, it was a long-term goal, but and back at that time, there wasn't an exact date of when, okay, this is when we will achieve it, because the criteria was constantly evolving. So, and it has continued to evolve.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't previously have to have a women's competition, and you didn't have to have a certain number of women's teams. That now has come in, which was the deadline for all associates the end of this year, but that's been pushed back 12 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, we're constantly evolving. It was difficult to actually go, okay, by this date, we want to achieve that. And also that the nature of the situation in Czech Republic was very different. We had a fundamental change here in 2015, 2016. Where previously, it had actually been very, very difficult for anybody coming from most parts of Asia, or almost all of Asia, to move to the Czech Republic for work or study.
Okay.
Vietnam was basically the only country in Asia where it was easy to move to the Czech Republic. Everywhere else, very, very difficult. So there were very, very few people from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. There were people here, but most of them were who identified as being from India or Pakistan, etc. They'd worked or studied previously in another European country, or they were from another European country. I mean, I had teammates a teammate who was born in Norway, but he was Pakistani. His parents had moved to Norway and he was born there. You know, we had British Asians, but very, very few people had actually moved directly from any part of Asia. And then it became much easier. End of 2015, start of 2016. And so suddenly there was a much bigger number of people coming from some of your biggest cricket playing countries in the world.
Yeah.
And this has massively contributed to the growth of cricket, because we didn't have that many teams. We didn't have that many players. And so it was restrictive in what we could and could not do. And yeah, now there's a lot more people who are coming from all parts of Asia, including the traditional cricket playing countries, moving here for work and for study. And so the number of teams has exploded.
Wow. So 2014-15, that was a pivotal time that enabled the growth to get to where you could consider becoming an associate member.
Yeah.
So the rules around nationality being changed.
Yeah.
And did I hear you right? Did you say that you're the sole full-time employee of the union?
Yeah, that's correct.
And did you have this passion before you moved to the Czech Republic? Was this something that you did previously, moving to the Czech Republic as a full-time job?
No, I had experience of organising a social cricket league in Australia for a number of years. And that's how I kind of ended up in the position which I'm in, which I did voluntarily for a number of years. But as the leagues got bigger and bigger, it stopped being something that I could do in addition to my job. And you suddenly realize that you're spending 25 to 30 hours a week doing your voluntary role on top of your full-time job. Yeah, you realize something has to change.
Right.
And it was simply a case of I was going to have to give up the voluntary aspect, my work for Czech cricket, unless it became a job. And the only reason it was able to become a job is that my wages are paid by a government grant.
Okay.
Otherwise, it just wouldn't be possible. We don't generate enough
Yeah.
to be able to employ people, which is the problem. We employ a number of people part-time in different aspects. We're part-time groundsmen. We also pay, we have junior coaches who get paid part-time, and we contribute to the wages of our development officers, the people who run the junior development aspects, because we have a lot more juniors than we have seniors. So we have just under 300 senior players, and we have 400 children who are playing cricket every week.
Wow.
And almost all of those children are Czechs. There's only about maybe 15 of those children who are not Czech.
That's
And
incredible.
the vast majority of the coaches working with them are all Czechs. We have more Czech coaches than we have Czech players, which always seems like an odd situation to people outside. But yeah, our junior coaches don't play cricket. They've never played cricket. We taught them how to introduce cricket and coach non-stop cricket and like street 20, these modified formats, softball, with the primary school kids. And these coaches, they just enjoy working with kids. They appreciate that cricket as such a multi-skilled sport, and both physical and very mental side of it, and that it's using all the different parts of the body, and the fact that it is a team sport where you can succeed individually as well. But it's still not enough to get them actually playing.
But that's something I've learned, that where nations have got a sporting culture, it seems to be a lot, well, easy is probably the wrong word, but cricket seems to be developing a lot quicker because people are already physically, you know, have got that sporting background, so that they don't mind diving around and doing the aspects of fielding that doesn't come naturally to other cultures. So I've heard that, and you've just repeated that. But the other thing that really surprised me was the foundation you're building in terms of the age group cricket. And you've just mentioned the fact that you've got more junior cricketers than seniors. But the one another surprise for me was that it's the Czechs themselves that are the majority. Because sometimes when I've spoken to other federations, you know, trying to get the local population to buy into cricket takes a bit longer, but it doesn't seem to be the case in the Czech Republic.
Well, it was for a very long time. When I started playing, there was probably about 15, 16 Czechs, but many of them were half Czech, one Czech parent, the other parent coming from a traditional cricket playing country, and a few of them were introduced to cricket when they were in a traditional cricket playing country. But we had a number of Czechs who'd been adults and teenagers who'd been introduced to the game. But we recognized a few years ago that the only way for the sport to be sustainable in this country is to make it part of Czech culture, to get Czechs playing it. It can't just be an immigrant sport or seen as, and many Czechs see it as an English sport. Many Czechs think that cricket is croquet or polo.
Right.
Our academy, the Cricketer Academy in Czech Republic, we refer to as Karcha, was talking about. They've actually had parents say to them when their child has come and said they want to play cricket, they're like, "Do you supply the horse?" And you know, you assume, like we did, and anybody from a traditional cricket playing country, you would assume that that level of ignorance would be a problem. And in actual fact, in a lot of ways, it's turned out to be an advantage, a benefit, that because when people from non-cricket playing countries, when they see test cricket or they have test cricket described to me, they're just like, are you insane? They cannot imagine how this works and why anyone would be interested in watching it or playing it. It just doesn't make sense. It makes sense to us because we've known about it since we could crawl. And so we realized that the best thing to do is don't show them professional cricket. Just go into a school with a bat and a ball, with some stumps, and do exercises that involve hitting a ball, throwing a ball, catching a ball, and running around and having fun. And you know, when kids don't know that, oh, this is cricket, a sport that is thought of as English, that's played mostly by people from Commonwealth countries and things. They're just like, all they know is that was fun and I want to do it again. And
Fantastic.
that's the approach that we've taken.
That's amazing.
It's been working, and which is why we now it's 400 kids who are playing every week at the moment. It would have been a lot more without the pandemic. The last year we introduced cricket to 7,500 kids in Czech primary schools. We actually did 9,000 in 2018. We actually had to step back a bit last year because we had too many after school clubs and not enough coaches. So we couldn't actually, the academy had to cancel some of the introduction sessions where they just go to schools and go, all right, let's just hit a ball, let's throw a ball, let's catch a ball, because we didn't have enough coaches for it. And yeah, it's working. It's just, and all the sessions are done in Czech. You know, it is important to us that there are enough obstacles to get kids to play sport. There's enough other distractions. We can't allow language to be one of those. And so that's what it was essential that we had Czechs who were doing the coaching. The head coach is a guy from England, but he speaks Czech well enough, and his wife, who is Czech, you know, assists in writing out everything. She's communicating with the schools and parents in a lot of ways. And so the kids are learning about cricket in Czech, and then we're also at the same time trying to get our adult players to learn some cricket Czech, because then they can be more involved. And when these kids get older and start, you know, some of these kids are now playing hardball cricket in junior clubs, and in a couple of years' time, they're going to be needing to play in the senior leagues against people who, many of them don't speak Czech or don't speak Czech very well. And they you know, both are going to need to communicate. And it's, I do a bit of coaching with them, very, very rarely. I often umpire at the junior tournaments, and I have to umpire in Czech because the vast majority of kids, we're talking about kids from 6 to 14, and there's not a strong, you know, Czechs learn English all throughout school, but they're not all strong at it, not all confident at it. You can't expect them to, a 6, 7-year-old to remember, oh, wide, yeah, that's that the ball's been bowled.
Yeah.
Not correctly, and it's it's great fun. And I love the fact that I've umpired a match completely in Czech.
Okay. I'm just blown away by some of the things you've just mentioned there. The numbers of kids at such a young age. The philosophy you have of just enjoy it in your own language, because obviously I'm comparing it to what I've known and heard of the, shall I say, the top 6, 7 cricket, and especially in South Asian, where it's a lot of pressure from very young age to master the game, because people are a lot more in the success mode. It's not about enjoyment so much at that age, but to hear that from yourself, that it's all about enjoyment at that age, and not taking it seriously, and hopefully you'll take it further. That's incredible. That's so refreshing to hear, because it's contrary to, unfortunately, what happens back in some of the South Asian countries, where there's a lot of pressure from a very young age. But also the level you're going to is not junior cricket, it's primary level as well. You're building up huge numbers there, so you've got the coaching as well. Because the other thing I hear is getting enough. I know you mentioned that you wanted even more kids to go, but just to get to have enough coaches that you can tap into, or bring cricket to around 8,000-9,000 primary kids. That's incredible.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very small group of coaches who are doing those introduction sessions, and often it's one coach to 120 kids, but they don't have them all at one time, because like the kids are basically in groups of 25, and it's just half an hour, because they go into a school, and it might be in the school for 3 hours, so it could be at the school for 4 hours, and they're just seeing lots of different classes and introducing it and just going, here's some fun activities, and if you want to do this more, if enough kids sign up for it, we can have a after-school club at this school. The thing is that sport is not part of the curriculum at the Czech education system. Sport is a massive element to Czech culture. It is pointless to ask a Czech person, do you play sport? If the correct question is, which sports do you play?
In the plural.
I've never met any Czech who doesn't do multiple sports. They might play five-a-side football, they might play volleyball, swimming, jogging, skiing, snowboarding, floorball, just cycling. It just keeps going on and on. And so getting them to do a physical exercise is not a problem, but it's not part of the curriculum. But what we have is that basically for an hour to 1 to 2 hours after school finishes with the primary schools, they can have these extracurricular activities, and it might be sport, might be artistically based, so it could be music, dance, theatre. It could be something much more like a hobby, and these happen at the school. The schools have all got sporting fields, or like they've got some facilities. It might be a small hall, a small five-a-side football pitch, so they can be done. And so this is fantastic. And for parents, it's basically free childcare after school for the staying there. And then they might pay a very small fee for their child to be doing cricket, or to be doing one of these other activities. And yeah, it works really well to fit into this aspect of the Czech culture. And we have, for the most part, most of the schools where we have these clubs, there's just one, and then might be 10, 12 kids. But we've got some where there are 3 different clubs, and there's 3 different age groups, because there's so many kids. You've got to split them up. Yeah, it's just you have to fit. We have to make cricket fit into Czech culture, and
Yeah, but that's something new. I didn't. I thought because I've always associated the Republic being such a sporting nation and excelling at so many different sports that it would be part of the curriculum. But it's not. It's after the school. That's incredible. I did not know that. But in a way, that shows the commitment, because I know that after school, all I wanted to do was come home and play PlayStation or something like that. But it shows the level of commitment and passion and the love they have for the sport that they want to stay behind. So.
yeah.
That's fascinating to learn that. I was not aware of that. Coming to your role as the league administrator, are your teams congregated around the capital, or are they spread around the country?
They are now mostly based in and around Prague. We also have a couple of clubs based in Brno, which is the second largest city, and a club from České Budějovice, which is a city in the southwest of the country. We've also I've been speaking to some people from two other parts of places in the country, a city Pilsen. So we expect them to join the. Excuse me. We expect them to join the league next year. We've recently just been approached by some people working in a very small village about 50 kilometers to the east of Prague that I had never heard of. But there's a large number of Bangladeshis working for a company there, and they've been playing cricket in their spare time, and the company's been helping them with this.
Oh, wow.
And then they found out that there was a Czech league, so they've approached us about them having a team in the league for next year. So we're working with them to get the club established and made legal and fitting on all the requirements. So it is very Prague centric, and it has always been, but that is changing, and we expect that to change more and more. We have interest from, there are some people in a northern city called Liberec who have aspirations. They're going to be a bit of away, probably won't be for another couple of years. Similar with another city called Ostrava. And it's really important to us that when we have a Czech national league, that it is actually a league that has participants from all over the nation, not just in Prague. And the long-term hope is that to one day be big enough where you have regional leagues. That's a long way down the road.
Yeah. You just mentioned there, what could be more cricket than a village team playing on a nice summer's day? So that ticks all the boxes. You mentioned that you've got the leagues going on at the moment, and if I'm right, you've got a 40-over league and a 20-over league and a 10-over competition. Is that right? The current structure in terms of the competitions?
Yeah. We had to cancel the 40-over competition this year due to the losing a few months due to the lockdown. Our T20 league has just started this morning.
I think I saw that on your Twitter page.
Yeah, about an hour and a half ago, the first two matches started.
Yeah.
One in Prague and one in Brno. And we've just last week finished our T10 league, the ECN Czech Super Series. And on top of that, we have an indoor league.
That surprised me as well. So you've got the facilities to play indoors as well.
Yeah. We play the matches at a school sports hall. As I said, lots of schools have sporting facilities, so it's not a problem to for there to be them available. It's just getting them and utilizing them. So yeah, it's interesting having walking through the snow to go into a hall to play cricket.
Yeah, it's what I heard when I was speaking to the Icelandic Cricket Association last year about how they don't have day-night cricket because of the that sort of night. Yeah. But in terms of the leagues and you play indoor league, what's your season in terms of start and finish, or you play different sort of tournaments throughout the year?
Well, the summer season, usually the first matches would begin at the end of April.
Okay.
And go through till the end of September.
Similar to the English season.
Yeah. And then the winter league, the indoor league is January, February, and usually finishes 1 week into March. And so there's only a couple of small windows between the summer and the winter. But with the expansion, or with the number of teams increasing and offers, it's possible that we'll be going into October this year. Still playing. That's yet to be confirmed. We might have another T10 competition in October. But yeah.
The other thing I was really impressed with, and I've seen photos of it, is I'm going to pronounce this completely wrong. Is it Cricket Vinor facility?
Yeah, it's pronounced Vinosh.
Vinosh. There you go. I knew I was. That looks an incredible facility for such a young cricketing nation.
Difficult to pronounce. Yeah, thanks. It's a exclusively cricket facility. We have 2 fields there that we play on, and we've had that for our exclusive use for cricket since 2012.
Wow!
It was built by the former chairman of the Czech Cricket Union, a man named Hugo Banks. Him and his family own the land, and Czech Cricket leases it from them. And he used to look after all the maintenance and stuff, but now we have the lease for it, and we look after everything.
It's a beautiful location.
Yeah, it is. It's right on the outskirts of Prague. It's when you're there and you look to the north. Most of what you can see is not actually in Prague. You literally just have to cross the road and you're no longer in Prague. So it is a little bit of. It's only about 25 minutes from the centre.
And do you have games there on a regular basis?
Yeah. There's 3 games there today. There's 2 games there tomorrow. There's essentially in a normal calendar year, normal situation. As I said, the summer season begins. The league starts at the end of April, but friendly matches will start earlier in April, and basically from early mid-April to the end of September, there are matches at that ground every single Saturday and Sunday.
Right. Okay. And well, I've put it on my bucket list, and I encourage as many people as possible to check out the photos. You'll definitely want to go and see, to say that you've seen a cricket match at that venue. It's beautiful. I thought it was amazing. And it's every weekend in a normal year. You'll find some cricket there. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And at least once a year, some international cricket. We run a tournament, the Central European Cup, that used to be a 50 over tournament and is now a T20 tournament. It was to be in June this year, but it will now be in September. Weekend of the 26th. I think it's the last weekend of September. Yeah. With still, it was supposed to be a 16 tournament. There's still a couple of little things being finalised, if it will be a 14 or a 16 tournament. And the T20Is. And normally every year we also have a international club T20 tournament, the Pepsi Cup. This year would have been its 7th year. Clubs from India, USA, we've had clubs from Bahrain, from the UAE, from England, from Italy, Switzerland, Iceland, playing in that tournament. So yeah, those two tournaments are usually the best for someone to come along.
You mentioned the Central European Cup in September 26th. That's been noted for that weekend. And I'm assuming there are 6 Central European nations that are potentially going to play, or is it outside?
Well, it's not just Central European nations. It's a Central European Cup because it's held in Central Europe. So
right, okay. Teams
like Luxembourg have participated, and they're certainly not Central European.
Okay, brilliant.
But there's been a lot of teams who are from Central Europe.
Right, remember the date, people, 26th of September, hopefully, fingers crossed. And don't forget to check out the website, the Czech Cricket Union website, and you can see the Twitter handle on behind me. But you mentioned international cricket, and obviously the goal is for the national team to progress. What I know you took part in the T20 World Cup qualifiers in the European stage. What are your plans for the national team and its progression? Have you set any goals or timelines?
Yeah, well, the national team is currently ranked 54th in the world in the T20 rankings, and the goal is to break into the top 50, which we now could do this year because we'll be playing the first T20I played in the world since the pandemic. So we're going to Luxembourg
oh wow.
At the end of August, and we'll be playing on the 28th of August. It's the same day that England plays Pakistan, except we play 3 or 4 hours before England plays Pakistan.
Wow.
So we just get in ahead of them.
Well, and I hope you're going to shout about it on your Twitter page, because that is incredible news.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I only just a couple of days ago realised that I knew that the England-Pakistan series, once it got confirmed, that it was going to be the same day, but I wasn't sure of the timing. So yeah, Friday the 28th of August, we play against Luxembourg in Luxembourg, and the match is at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time, and England plays Pakistan at 9 p.m.
Yeah, so you'd probably have finished the game as well by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. That's incredible. So you're going for the first international tour since the lockdown to Luxembourg?
Yeah.
How many games are you playing there?
It's a tri-series. Belgium will also be there. So we're basically playing each other twice over the 3 days of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That's incredible. You know, when you start mentioning the series against Luxembourg and Belgium, we're going to be there, and we're talking about cricket here, not football or ice hockey or volleyball or anything like that. It just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But it's incredible stories that I've heard from yourself. I've learned so much about and it's such a young cricketing nation, and the progress you made, especially at grassroots level, that's incredible. Obviously, it was the intention from the start to build that up, but the fact that in the numbers you're talking about, I can only see Czech cricket going top 40, top 30, with these kids coming up down the line, and the coaching they've had from a very young age, thanks to you and your team. It looks very bright for cricket in the Czech Republic.
It is. We've still got lots and lots of obstacles that we have to overcome to be able to continue that growth. The biggest is grounds, is playing facilities to be able to play 11-a-side cricket. When I mention those new clubs, and even the club Česká Budějovice, who just joined the league this year for the first time, they don't have their own ground. They have to play in Prague. And we have a field in Brno. We have the 2 fields at Vinoš. We have fields in a village called Velvary, which is about 30 kilometers west of Prague. And that's it. And the problem, I know of these 2 teams who want to come into the competition next year. If we don't have any more fields, we can't have any more teams on top of that, because there's just simply not enough hours on the weekends for the matches to happen. And there's only, with our geographical position, there's only a couple of weeks where you can even consider trying to play a T20 midweek without people having to take time off work because of the light. We're a long way away from having lights. We'd like to get sight screens at the field before we get lights.
I've no doubt, knowing how much you progressed in the past 20 years, that's not very long away, and you'll have lights at your facility very soon as well. It's been amazing speaking to you. I just want one final question. When you're at a game and there's a T20 match going on and you see some local Czech people walking past, do they stop and think, what's going on here, or is that time gone now? They know what's happening.
Oh no, they're still looking at it of what a novelty, what is this bizarre spectacle. It's hard to get information out to the general populace. One of our other biggest obstacles is not having a real presence in Czech media. They don't even report on the results of our national league, and we've been trying for years to get that addressed. I have to give a big shout out to the Brno Cricket Club, who are doing some really good work locally in Brno in the media there, and in getting locals to understand the match and what it is, and using their facility, their Brno Cricket Ground, because they get a lot of people walking past. And Vinoš, the people in the village of Vinoš, they know that there's this foreign sport gets played down the road, and if they're cycling past or walking past, they'll stop and have a little look for a bit, but that's the end of it. It's just like basically they'll spend about 5 minutes trying to work out what are they actually trying to do. Like, most of them just seem to be standing there. Occasionally these people run. They can't work out why, and then they'll usually go away.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you said earlier, that it's a difficult game to explain, especially if you're going to start with Test cricket. It becomes even more harder. So I think it's just a question of hopefully people look at it and see some action and stick around, because we know we all are passionate about cricket, and I'm sure it will start. And especially with the numbers of primary age kids you're hitting, they're going to go back home and tell their parents about the game, and I think that's just going to uh, get the interest going. And yes, I totally agree with the media part. That's a huge job. I know in different sports in different parts of the country, that's where they're struggling, is getting the exposure, because the exposure brings the support and the funding. But it's good that at least the government is supporting yourself, and you're part of their plans as well in terms of funding. But Terry, I could speak to you for another hour at least, if not longer. It's been an absolute education for me, learning so much about not only the cricket, but also the culture in the Czech Republic. And like I said, you'll be seeing hopefully a lot more people through this podcast coming to the facility at Vinosh. Hopefully that's a better attempt, because I certainly have that. You're doing it. You don't need me to tell you. You're doing an incredible job there, by the sound of it. And thank you so much for taking time out for sharing it with us as well. And hopefully we'll speak to you again.
Thank you for having me, Bharat. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant. You stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.